Will the training that you put in for this winter be different than it has in the last 3 years, because the Tour of California has been moved forward in the season all the way till May? That's a big difference.
I hope so. As you know, my coach, Dr. Massimo Testa, who you know really well from the days on 7-Eleven, he's trained me for the last 5 or 6 years, and I owe a lot to Max, because he has pushed me in training farther and harder than I ever thought I could do. And I know it's harder than anyone out there trains, and that gives me confidence and peace of mind when I get to the race that I'm ready. I have no excuses. I put the time in. I did every single interval he told me to do every single day. I didn't cut anything short. And it just, when you get on the starting ramp of that prologue, you know, you have the confidence and the ability to push yourself to the maximum. There's no fear or doubt holding you back. So it's going to depend on Max's training, but I'm hoping that it's a lot less intensive this winter.
Do you think that the moving it is maybe be able to arrive at the Tour de France with a little bit more, you won't have these two huge, big peak early and then, another big peak later on in the season, or
I think so, yeah. I think it makes it simpler in the fact that I can just slowly build for May, June, and July. I mean, the last 4 years, like I said, I trained really intense. I had to push myself in December and January for Tour of California in February, and then just kind of try to hang on to that form, and at some point take some rest and try to rebuild. And it's difficult because you don't really know how you're going to come out of that. I mean, this last year, I won the Tour of California and then Castilla Leon and then the Tour of the Gila, and came into the Giro still firing on all cylinders. But then started to have some bad days in the Giro, and I think that's normal, that you just you can't keep going like on that certain level for so long. And then had a good rest after the Giro and trained at altitude for the Tour and was doing really well in the Tour. I was in 4th place, but I don't know how it would have worked out if I was going to continue to ride that well, or better or worse. It certainly has made it challenging to win in February and then try to win again in July. But it worked in 2007.
Definitely. Yeah, that was an amazing year. Like, you had one Tour of California and then had such a spectacular Tour de France many months later.
Yeah.
But that must have given you the confidence that you can stay during the racing season at a high level, and when you need to ramp it up. And I noticed that in 2008 in the Vuelta, and you were unable to do the Tour, but still, like, to keep your morale and have an absolutely spectacular Vuelta.
Yeah, well, 2008 was a little more simple because, I was flying in February again, winning the Tour of California, and pretty decent for a few months there in the beginning, and then the Giro, not so great, but I did a huge workload. I did the Giro, had 6 days off, and then did the Dauphiné, and that was a lot, and I'd never done that workload in such a short amount of time before, and took a good rest after the Dauphiné, and immediately felt like I was flying on the bike all the way to the rest of the year. So that was a little more simple because of the time frame is larger. So I'm looking forward to 2010 because it's, like I said, it's simple, just a slow build. Try to come into California not at the very best, but good enough to win, and then just hope for the best in July.